our entire galactic and you could say universal history ties into other universes that have existed prior to the creation of our own universe. So even our own universe is part of a greater program, that was designed by the higher evolution to become the melting pot of the multiverse.
Can you bring us along the journey of the galactic origins then? Yeah,
Sure,
tell us more.
absolutely. Well, the original humans, just within our own local universe, our universe, again, was designed by the higher cosmic Elohim forces to become kind of like the culmination of all involution and evolutionary involution, which is the descent, and evolutionary universes that have ever existed prior to the creation of our universe. So you could say our universe is the melting pot. So just within our universe alone, humanity is actually traceable back to about 560 million years ago, going back to the Vega star system on a planet called Avion, Avalon, Apex. Those are the three, I call them the three A's. Those were the three planets, all three revolving around the Vega system within the galactic sector of Sirius B, where our ancestors were first seeded. Again, they were seeded by other off-world, or let's just say off-universal races that came from other universes to create what they called the Great Experiment. So we are part of a genetic experiment that has actually been going on for billions of years. That was literally transferred over from other creations, other universes, into this universe to be kind of like the culmination of all of creation, since there are multiple universes. And so the origin of humans began in Lyra. From Lyra, the humans gradually expanded over to the Pleiades. They went over to Andromeda, Arcturus, Alpha Centauri, just to name a few. They've actually, little by little and gradually, began to repopulate our entire universe, including other galaxies. And eventually, of course, they came to this planet a few million years ago. And this was a time before the Atlantean epoch and before the Lemurian epoch. There is evidence that the first civilization existed here approximately 30 million years ago, and that was known as the advanced luminal civilization of Polaria. So that's when our ancestors first came here. Millions of years ago, but they were still operating with their light bodies. See, that's one of the things that I like to explain in our cosmic origin is that since we have multiple avatars, the original avatar was the light body. So after so many millions of years, due to the process of descent, which is involution with an IN, not EV, things began to, I guess, consolidate into physical matter. Eventually, every epoch after the first seeding, millions of years ago, became more solid or more denser, you could say, than the previous one. To give you an example, the first civilization on this planet was a luminal race, a spiritual Adam and Eve, and they were immortal. And after that civilization, due to the battle against the dark forces, as we call them, they fell into a lower density, and then that's what gave us Hyperborea. And even more so, after that, the cataclysm of Hyperborea, which again was a different battle that took place against the forces of darkness, things even condensed further into Lemuria. And Lemuria at that point was just now existing in the sixth, seventh dimension, whereas the original civilization began in the 12th dimension. So every time there was a new epoch, things were condensing into lower frequencies, becoming more materialized, you could say. And then by the time Atlantis came around, that's what gave us the fifth dimension. So it's like Lemuria, sixth dimension, then Atlantean civilization came about, and then we entered into what we call the fifth dimension. And the fifth dimension was where we were supposed to be stationed. You could say we weren't even supposed to be dropping into the 3D. That was part of an infiltration that took place that the Gnostics called the demiurge. That's when the demiurge decided to create even lower vehicles, causing the fall of Atlantis. And that explains why, from that point on, as we were all connected to Source and we were all multidimensional, that's when we fell in consciousness into this avatar that we call the human body of flesh and bones, which is very, very limited. So the whole point is that now that we are at the bottom of this involutionary process where spirit began at the highest frequencies and through a gradual descent by the lowering of frequency, it reached its lowest point, which is now, and now the opposite of that is taking effect. And this is why now the earth and those that are ready to ascend with the earth are about to go a transformation back into the fifth dimensional earth reality. And that's what's happening right now.
Can you define the time frame of what you're referring to as now?
Well, right now is, in terms of time, it is believed that many cycles are reaching an ending. It's not just a 25,000-year platonic year, which I'm sure a lot of your guests have talked about that, which is the revolution of our solar system around Alcyon, right? But we're also ending even greater cycles that have not yet been detected by our Earth scientists. And these cycles have a lot to do with the restoration and ascension of the Milky Way galaxy, as it once was part of a greater galactic sphere known as the Amway. Believe it or not, billions of years ago, the Milky Way and the Andromeda M31 were one big galaxy. And due to the war with negative invasive AI, our galaxy was severed from the Andromeda galaxy, which used to connect our local galaxy to the eternal life systems, into a lower density. So just like how we've been falling in density, so has our galaxy and our planet, by the way. So it's like we're all in this together. So we're also ending what is known as a 226 million year cycle, which marks the completion of the Milky Way, ready to become part of or reconnected back to the eternal life systems. Now, in terms of what that is, okay, so as our solar system revolves around Alcyone, which is its parent sun, in a period of every 25,000 years, which is what we call the Platonic year, well, it turns out that our solar system, along with Alcyone, Sirius B, revolves around the galactic core in a revolution of 226 million years, which is the equivalent of about 55,000 Platonic year cycles. So we've already, so one 226 million year galactic year revolution is 55,000 galactic year cycles, which are 25,000 times 55,000. And so that marks the completion and ascension of the Milky Way. And then on top of that, we're also ending a 22 billion year cycle, which is, again, just like the our star with our local star cluster, Alcyon and Sirius B, revolves around the galactic core. Well, it turns out that the Milky Way, with other galaxies, revolve around the core, the central sun of our local universe. So that is a revolution of, or a cycle of 22 billion years. And we're also ending that. So right now, as I speak, all these cycles are coming into completion. The 5,000 world age that began in 3114 BC, right, which we call the Kali Yuga. Now it's ending as we enter the Krita Yuga, which is back to the Golden Age. But we're also ending the 25,000 year Platonic year cycle, which is 5 of those. And then we're also ending a 226 year Galactic year cycle, which is 55,000 Platonic years. And then we're also ending a 22 billion year cycle, which is going to allow our universe to become an ascended universe. So our universe is also going to reach completion as a result of the Earth's ascension. So that's why everything is now culminating now, because we are at that point where everything is, all these cycles beyond what we could measure are all coming into culmination at the same time.
Hey there, Inspired Evolutionary. If you absolutely loved this, well then here's a full conversation with this guest on the Inspired Evolution podcast. Check it out now.